Hi, everybody. Welcome to CBOT Unplugged. I'm Bonnie Reitman, and we are very happy to welcome a guest, Derek Boucher. He is a job developer from Durham College Community Employment Services. And we're going to be talking about workforce development today. There's a lot to talk about. And we're going to be talking about talent attraction and retention, as well as what employer supports are out there, what supports are out there for job seekers, and how we can work together to kind of reduce the gap between the employment seeking talent and talent seeking employment. So before we get started today, I do want to give great thanks to our podcast sponsor, Niche Security, logo here. Niche Security, they provide different types of security services such as mobile patrol with marked security vehicles that patrol Clarington and Durham region as well. They do asset protection. They provide expertise on security prevention measures, and they do construction site safety as well, and many other types of services. So they have fully licensed and insured guards to cover events, concerts, corporate events, and regular security coverage. So you'll want to contact the team. The leader at Niche Security, the owner's name is Will Rogers. So you want to connect with him at 647-581-0749. Or email will at nicheontario@gmail.com. And you can also follow them on LinkedIn and Facebook. And we also want to give a shout out to our series sponsor, the D'Amico family, for being our CBOT Unplugged series sponsor for 2026. So very grateful for our sponsors. Thank you. All right, let's dig right into the topics today here, Derek. So tell us a little bit more about your role at Durham College Community Employment Services right here in Bowmanville. And what does a typical day for you look like?
Good question. I wouldn't really say there is a typical day in what
I
we
wouldn't
do.
imagine, yeah.
Ideally, there's a typical day. Uh, so usually, what will happen is you're going in. You have job seekers that are working with different employment specialists within the office. So those are the two different roles:
Mm,
employment specialist, and then what I do as a job developer. Like employment specialists are helping job seekers prepare for the working world. So everything from resume building, they might be doing mock interviews, and then we do place a lot of time on job search support. So
mm,
how to job search, a lot of AI tools being used in resume screening. So we definitely coach them and help them prepare on that.
mhm.
A big aspect in terms of accessing the hidden job market, which is really important, especially when you're looking for work in a smaller community. A lot of word of mouth referrals are really important. And then
Of course.
for some individuals that need the extra assistance or might be a fit for some of the jobs that I'm looking to place them into, they'll come in and see me as well. And then what I'm doing from there is kind of getting to know what they're looking for and trying to match that with the needs of the employers in the area.
Exactly. And you've been with Durham College Community Employment Services for how long?
Uh, about 11 years now.
11 years. So
Yeah.
you've seen a lot, you've heard a lot.
Seen a lot. I've done all the
Yeah,
different
for sure.
roles, and job developer was sort of my last landing spot that I hadn't done yet in employment services, but I've been doing this for I think the last 6 or 7 years now.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, you're very passionate. We've worked with you over the years as well, so you're very passionate about making those connections and
Mhm.
providing efficient support to both job seekers and employers. And maybe tell us a little bit about your personal life too. You're a Bowmanville resident.
Yeah, so my wife and I moved to Bowmanville about 5 or 6 years ago.
Hmm.
I'm losing track, but yeah, we live in Bowmanville. We've lived in the same house for that whole time. Just me and her and our two little Boston Terriers.
Nice, nice.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
we've crossed our own paths
yes,
at walks at the west end of Bowmanville.
we
So we're on
have.
the same sidewalk. Yeah, we run into each other a couple of times. So
Yes,
there you go.
yeah.
It's nice to see you. Um, and so what types of, and you work with both job seekers and employers. So is that
Yes.
an even mix, or do you work more so with from the job development perspective with
Yeah,
job seekers
ideally in my role, you're spending a majority of your time
with
getting to know employers and building those relationships.
employers? Yes.
I guess some people kind of view it as you're kind of playing both sides.
Hmm.
Really, the only side I'm playing is ensuring that individuals are getting long-term sustainable employment, and that's something that does work with both ends, right? The
Mm-hmm.
employer is getting someone that's going to stick around and make their business better, and the
Of
job
course.
seeker is getting a job that's going to enhance their life and make their life better.
Great. So what types of businesses do you work with? And is it just within Clarington, or is it outside of Clarington? I guess what types of businesses do you work with, or is it just you find yourself working with a main type of business who are looking for that support?
Yeah, the great thing about Clarington is there's such a wide array of different types of businesses, I would say,
Yes.
of all the areas that I've worked in.
Yep.
You have a little bit of everything from very large employers to employers that there's only two or three employees, and then
Mm.
a good chunk of medium-sized employers as well.
Okay.
Yeah, we work with manufacturing, food service. Big fan of all the bakeries
Mm.
in Clarington, so they all know me very well as a customer. So usually, anytime there's anyone that's a baker that's looking for a job, I always have a
Yeah.
really good,
Yeah.
strong lead in with them.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like I need a muffin. Also, are you hiring?
Yes,
Yeah. Okay.
that's exactly how the conversation
That
goes. Yeah.
that's great. Good. And so do you find that there are quite a few businesses in Clarington who are already familiar with Durham College Community Employment Services?
Yeah, yeah, we've been in the area for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I think longevity in the role that I am in is important. So there was someone before me that was in the role long
Yes.
term
Yeah.
that's transitioned into me now. So
Mm-hmm.
that being familiar with the same person doing the job, I think is important because really we're selling ourselves in that instance,
Yep.
and the relationship with us and the trust with us.
Well, that's all about. It comes down to relationships always, right? So
Absolutely.
and having that respect and trust. So now maybe tell us a little bit more about like the most challenge. What are the challenges that you hear from employers as well as job seekers, right? So we're always hearing from employers, it's like there's the talent's not out there, we can't find it.
Hmm.
And from the other side, we hear from a job seeker perspective, if we're out and about, there's no jobs out there. And so that gap isn't unique to Clarington or Durham or Ontario. It's unique to think the world, but and we always try to strive to as partners in the community to bridge that gap, close that gap as much as we can. So I'd like to hear a little bit more about what you hear from employers that are their biggest challenge, and the same thing for job seekers, and maybe we can gain a little bit more insight into that gap.
Yeah, I think I would summarize it as sort of like an expectations gap on both
Mm,
sides, right?
mm,
Job seekers are wondering why they can't be given a chance, and
mm,
employers are wondering why there's no one suitable for their positions.
mm,
So
mm-hmm.
there does seem to be a clear gap in their expectations there.
Yeah,
I think a lot of employers really want someone to be fully trained and hit the ground running on day one. I mean, who wouldn't, right?
right.
That's pretty ideal. I think there's
Mm-hmm.
a little bit less of on the job training happening these days,
Mm,
and there's lots of reasons for that. A lot of employers are stretched pretty thin. I know a lot of
sure,
small business owners
especially small business. Yeah.
yeah, they wear multiple different hats.
Yep.
So when it comes around to training, it can be a little difficult. So that's why sometimes there's great opportunities through like micro credentials or very short term
Mm,
training that can help not just the employer get their employee up to speed, but as a job seeker, if you're looking to really get the skills for a job, it's great to pursue those.
mm-hmm.
That are available through different colleges. Durham College, for example, has quite a large selection of those through professional and
Mm-hmm.
part-time learning. So yeah, there's great opportunities to sort of upskill yourself to make yourself suitable for the job, but I do think there needs to be a big component of on-the-job training that needs to continue to happen as well.
Continue to happen. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, so that they basically employers are looking for someone out of the box, right out of the
Yeah.
packaging that have those skills and ready to go. What we hear too is employers have to make the time to train on site. Because
Yeah.
some of them don't have those skills and they're teachable. So the amount of time that they need to invest in their new hires, it takes them away from the other hats that they have to wear as well. But they just do it. But that's interesting. You pointed that out. So pertaining to expectation on
Hmm.
both sides. So same thing with job seekers. Um, what we've heard as well is job descriptions have a lot to do with the type of job seekers that are answering to those job descriptions. So, but we've heard um, conversations that touch on, the job descriptions have to be written for the types of people who are looking for those types of jobs. So, um, is that a conversation that you have with employers? Because there's employers that say, okay, I'm hiring for this position, these skills and that skills. So it would have to be written a bit more that would align with what job seekers are looking for from a lifestyle perspective, from a
Yes.
skills perspective, from does it fit my life perspective? I'm just curious as to your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I one thing I always coach employers on is when they're creating a job posting or job description, the more information the better to a certain
Mm,
degree. And not just about the skills or the tasks that they're going to be doing about the job, but it's in my opinion, I think it's important to have as much information about pay,
mm,
hours, shifts. Those are all things that are really make it or break it for job seekers.
mm-hmm.
And the last thing you want is to have all these pool of potential employees applying
Yeah.
only for you to get to the interview stage and maybe even the offer stage and realize you're not on the same page in
Mm-hmm.
terms of um, pay or hours.
Yeah.
Right. So the more information, the better, and being as specific as possible. But I think also sometimes we might get a little bit too, going back to the lack of on the job training.
Mm,
Sometimes there needs to be a little bit more focus on the soft skills
yeah.
that are needed for a job, knowing that some of the more basic tasks can be
Mm,
learned on the job,
right.
right? But those soft skills that someone
Huge.
has,
Oh.
those take years
Mm,
or decades
mm-hmm.
sometimes
Yeah.
to really learn, and those aren't really things you can develop on the job. You either have it or you don't in many
Yes,
cases.
that's right. That's right. And what about culture? Like in a job description, as far as
Hmm.
maybe not so much flexibility that we align with a certain philosophy that we bring to the workspace within our environment.
Yeah, I think company culture is really important. I think it's something that in the last 5 or 6 years is has really changed for job
Mm,
seekers. It's something they really seek out. So remote work
sure.
arrangements is important.
Yep.
What does the company stand for? What do they like? How do they treat their
Yeah.
employees?
Their values. Yeah.
Their
Mm-hmm.
values. Those are things that will people will pick over wages sometimes.
Yeah.
Also, a big factor for a lot of people is how long is the commute. So if you can work locally and you live locally, those are as someone with a very short commute. Um, those things are very valuable.
Mm-hmm.
Though that's time in your day, right? Now that I have a short commute, I always view it as if I had an hour commute, that's my part of my workday. So I'm working X amount of hours more per year,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. And
So
mentally, right?
yeah.
To just even traveling that hour. I think we're both very lucky we work 5 minutes from home
Yes.
too, right?
Yeah.
So that's good. So I know you wanted to mention something about succession planning.
Yeah. Yeah. I think when I see it quite a bit around here for smaller and medium-sized
Mm-hmm.
businesses, how important succession planning is. Especially, it's not always ideal that you have a position that's opening up and a year in advance or 6 months in advance.
Yeah.
But in the instance that you do know, so maybe someone's retiring, it is really important to get out ahead of that.
You have to stay ahead of it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I have an
Yeah.
example. I'm not going to go into details about the specific
Sure.
employer, but this employer identified an employee that's going to be retiring. I think it was about 6 to 8 months ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
So they reached out to me to kind of get an idea of what they're looking for. One of the benefits of it is we can really then focus on those soft skills to make sure the person has those skills
Mm-hmm.
because there's going to be a crossover. They're going to be able to get onboarded while that person is still there before they retire.
Yep.
So they can learn how to do those teachable tasks.
Mm-hmm.
And then hopefully, again, they do have those right soft skills, and then they can kind of transition from one person to the
Right.
next
Right.
painlessly. Otherwise, sometimes what you end up doing is you might be on your third hire before you find the right fit
Mm.
if you wait till it's too late.
Yeah, true. And I think I'm glad we had that conversation ahead of time as well, because that's something that we can talk to employers about as we learn about their pinch points and challenges and opportunities. We can talk about that succession planning from a position an occupation perspective and
Of
see if
course.
they have anything in place, right? So it's good. Let's change direction for a
Sure.
second, Derek. We're going to be talking about where we started off.
Okay.
Think way back when. It's probably
Mm-hmm.
only 10 years ago because you're a young thing. But what was your very first job? Do you remember?
Yes, my very
We
first
always
job.
remember our first jobs,
Yeah,
I
so my
think.
very first job was probably like many people's first job. It wasn't, apply online or walk in and hear from it.
No.
So my mom before worked for a company called Medical Pharmacies. So it's a pharmaceutical company.
Okay.
And through one of their pharmacies, they used to provide medication to nursing homes.
Hmm.
So what had happened, unfortunately, was they had sent a month worth of medication to a nursing home, but they hadn't updated, sadly, who had passed away. So there was, it comes in like these plastic, almost like blister packs, all
Oh,
rolled up
yes,
of all the
yes.
pills for the month, like an astronomical amount. So what my job was for this short 2 month stint was I had to cut open all the packages, identify the pills, put them in front of the right bottle so that a pharmacist can go over and make sure it was right, put them back in, count, update the inventory, and I did that for I believe 9 hours a day for 2 months. And that
Yeah.
was, it was a type of job where you think, oh, it must be lunch soon, and it was nine
Yes.
fifteen in the morning.
If you used to start at
Yeah,
9,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh boy. So any lessons from that as other than monotony and you wanted lunch?
It was to work on my resume for another job was my lesson there. So yeah,
Yeah, no
yeah,
kidding. Yeah, I think we all have those stories at our first jobs. A lot of people have first jobs that are like have so much they're laborious, right? And then they're like,
yes.
this is what work is gonna be in my future. It's
hmm
terrible. I never want to work. But it builds character. Didn't
It
it build
definitely built
character?
it definitely built character. Yeah,
Yeah,
it kind of taught me to build build up my skills
yeah,
to do something else.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. There's
hmm
other things that aren't as monotonous out there
For
too.
sure.
But so
And I was
you
also
almost went,
I think I was maybe 16, so at the
yeah,
same time, not so bad in the grand scheme of things.
yeah.
It was a bit of money at the time.
Yeah, there you go. And
Yeah.
that helps. Kids want money,
Yeah,
right, to buy
of
stuff.
course.
So I remember my first job was I think it was around 15, 16. I worked at it was called Food City at the time that turned into IGA. So I worked in the bake shop. So I
Okay.
just went in with my resume and I said, I want a job. As my mom was waiting in the parking lot, and talked to the head cashier, and I didn't want to be cashier for some reason. I think you're standing a lot. You stand a lot in grocery stores
You
anyway.
do.
So they're like, bakery has an opening. I'm like,
Hmm.
cool, let's go. Met the head baker. He's like, can you start on Monday? I'm like, sure, great. 8 years later, so it got me through university too, right? So
Okay.
it was a lot of fun, a lot of different experiences there. I won't tell anybody because you'll be like, wow, that's awesome. Um, I'll tell you one. Okay, fine. So putting bread away, you have to move a lot, bend, you have to clean stuff, scrape stuff, and get
Yep.
everything ready for the bakers the next day. So I guess my pants were either too old or too small. So bending down, my pants ripped right in the seam. That was just at the
Start of
end.
your shift or
That was
end?
that was at the end.
Okay,
Thank
okay.
goodness. So I
That's good.
just turned my apron around the other way, and it's a
You
fatality
were
sometimes of your job, of your clothes malfunctioning. So
yeah.
but I remember that was a part-time job, obviously. So my first job out of university, I worked for an employment agency,
hmm
interviewing people and doing a lot of different like dexterity tests and things. This is more so placing people in warehouses. So my boss at the time heard me on the phone answer to some employer, and I said, I don't know to their question, and uh, nothing afterwards. And so she gave me a lot of trouble after saying, "You never say I don't know to somebody. Say I don't know. I will find out the answer for you." So
Yeah.
being at CBOT, I will never say, and our team will never say I don't know, but I'll find out for you. Yeah. So that was a big lesson I learned. I don't think I've ever said that ever again. So, and talking to the team before our discussion here. So Erica's first job was at a pharmacy,
Okay.
and Rhonda's first job was also at a grocery store at the deli counter, and a lot of funny stories there too. And Alyssa's first job was at A&W, and of course it is. It's at a food establishment, and she loves food and burgers. So
Yeah.
so there's a lot of fun stories
My
there.
second job after
Yeah,
that was also in a grocery store in the butcher shop.
the
So I
butcher
worked
shop.
at Loblaws and No Frills at the same time,
Yeah. Oh
in the
heavens.
butcher shop for I think maybe 6 or 7 years after that. So I
Yeah.
can relate to both of those. You know, it's a lot of similar age groups working there, and
Totally.
it's
Yeah.
just every shift was an adventure. That's
It
for
was
sure.
it was memorable,
Yeah.
isn't it? You had a
It
lot of fun back then. You
we
learned a
did.
lot
Yeah.
too. So this is a good segue. So I'd like just to mention a few things that the Clarington Board of Trade does to support workforce development from our programming. So good segue from youth. So I think since 2017 we have built relationships with the high schools in Clarington. more so their co-op and civics classes, and we're branching out to more different types of classes this year. But we would go into their schools and talk to the students about Clarington and just say, there's so many different types of businesses here. There's diverse skills, diverse types of companies. There's manufacturers, there's energy businesses, there's retail, agriculture. And reflecting back when you were that age, you really didn't know what was in your own community, I bet, right? So
No idea.
no idea. So you like, I'm going to work over at, Canada Rubber. Usually kids don't know what the heck is down in the industrial areas. So it's a good
Mhm.
opportunity for them to know what is out there. you know, After they get their education, they can always come back and get a job here. So, um, and just getting them to become familiar with opportunity in their own backyard. So, and we continue to do that. So I think we've engaged with over probably 3,000 students over the years. So that's something to be proud of. We do the Employer Student Summit every year as well. Um, and we also partner with Derek and his team at Durham College
Oh.
Community Employment Services. So
Hmm.
we're having a job fair again, I think
Hmm.
April 1st this year. So this will
Yeah.
be our fifth job fair. Do you remember when we did our first job fair in
I sure do.
2024?
I remember marketing it and thinking, I really hope we get around
Yeah.
100 people.
Yeah, you're like this. And so Derek was the power behind getting the public out and the job seekers out. And we invited members of the business community out who were hiring. So we had, heavens, I think 25 to 30
Hmm.
members of the business community looking, and we didn't know what to expect. And over 500,
I believe that was the number
500
in a 2 hour
in a
span
2 hour span.
plus
And
a
I know
little
you've
bit.
done job fairs before, but
Yeah.
not really in partnership, and bringing so many employers in, and you weren't even sure. But we are like, yeah, Derek's seasoned at this, so he knows. And you're like,
You
there's
don't, yeah, you don't know.
hundreds of people
Yeah.
coming through. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's something in partnership with Derek's office, and as well as the municipality are partners with us. It is something to help close that gap to bring those job seekers to employers. And since we've had those job fairs, we've had quite a few of our companies and businesses, employers hire
Yeah.
from there, and they're still with them.
Yeah.
So that's a win, right? So
Hmm.
if they hire somebody from an opportunity like that's a win, isn't it? So, um, what else do we do? Yeah, and on May 20th, we are having an HR symposium in partnership with the municipality again. So we're going to be talking more about and trying to address HR topics, not only from a business perspective, who have employers who have many employees, but from an entrepreneurial perspective as well, because entrepreneurs, um, depending on if they want to scale, if they want to grow, if they're getting so busy, if they're on the cusp of making a decision on, I need to hire somebody. We have members who are specializing in HR services who will talk them through that, and how to onboard people. So, from an entrepreneur perspective, and in the afternoon, we're going to be talking about more so on the compliance side, the regulatory side, policy side, job description side. So it's going to be a great opportunity. So I can't wait for our job fair. Um, so I want to close off by maybe if you can let us know a little bit more about Durham College Community Employment Services, the resources that you provide, maybe from a funding perspective for
Sure.
employers.
Yeah, so the similar to what I was describing earlier, kind of when we get to that stage of we're working with the job seeker to try to find an employer that
Mm-hmm.
may be suitable based on what their skills are. Usually, we also have employers that reach out to us to fill positions as well.
Yep.
The great thing about some of our programs is sometimes when you are hiring someone through our services, is some funding that might be available. For that position, we sort of look at it as a way to sort of offset the cost of training and hiring. So
Mm-hmm.
we know wages is one part. Someone's in the job, you're paying them to do the job, but in those first few weeks, maybe even months,
Mm-hmm.
they're getting paid their full wage, but they're not really doing the full job yet because they're not up to speed. They're not fully trained.
Sure.
Um, so what this money does is a great way to kind of offset some of those costs and provide some financial
Mm.
relief. It also allows you to maybe try out someone that you might not typically hire based on
Hmm.
just their resume, right? So we
Right.
talked about those soft skills and what they are, and maybe some things that they're missing on paper.
Hmm.
But once they get in the job and they're doing it, um, they're doing well at it.
Yeah.
I always tell when we're working with youth and they have no experience, I always say, just because you haven't done something before, doesn't mean you can't do it. Because at some
Right.
point, like we talked about earlier, none of us had a job, right?
That's right.
And we all figured it out somehow.
We
So
did.
that
Yeah.
funding is available to kind of help address that area. And yeah, it's a great resource, and a lot of people that we do place end up staying again at the same place. We
Sure.
follow up for up to a year afterwards just to see if they're still there. And
Mm.
again, some people that had no experience at all are there and they're thriving in the role.
Mm-hmm. Now, is that the Canada Ontario Job Grant you're referring to?
No,
Or
so this is just our standard employment Ontario programs.
okay.
The other stream of funding available
Yeah.
to employers is called the Canada Ontario Job Grant.
Yeah.
Currently, that program is still on hold.
It's on hold.
Yeah, they're
Good to
reviewing
know.
it. I would imagine they might make it more inclusive, but we don't really know. It's been on hold for quite a while now.
Okay.
And what that program allows an employer to do is perhaps there's a current employee that you want to move along to a higher skill level position,
Mm-hmm.
but they need further training. So through the Canada Ontario Job Grant, you can apply for it with a specific training attached,
Mm-hmm.
and eligible training can be reimbursed back to you as an employer
Mm-hmm.
up to a certain amount. It's usually around 83%.
Okay.
Yeah, and then everyone wins in that circumstance. The
Mm-hmm.
employee gets usually a lifelong credential, typically a wage increase and a better position,
Yeah.
and the employer gets like another asset within their company.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's great. I hope that does come back because that
Yes.
was helpful. And years ago, we actually took advantage of the Canada Ontario
Okay.
Job Grant as well. So,
Awesome.
and the application process, there's a lot of um, hesitancy from some employers out there to fill out any applications for any funding because it can be challenging and time consuming. But the staff at Durham College Community Employment Services walk you right through it,
Absolutely.
like
Yeah.
every step of the way, to make it as easy as possible. And I remember filling that application out with Patty Lynn,
Yeah.
and it was very easy,
Yeah, absolutely. And
very
we can
easy.
give you
So
advice too. Like if you're coming with a training that we know isn't accepted,
yeah,
we'll let you know, and we'll maybe point you in the right
sure,
direction for
yeah.
something that we know is typically approved.
That's very helpful.
Yeah.
That's very helpful for employers too. Okay, I want to close it off by, I guess, any last thoughts other than I'll get you to think about if you want to close off with any tips or any advice for employers or job seekers. But I want to invite our listeners and employers to reach out to Derek and his team for any help and support looking for talent, as well for job seekers. They will take care of you. Again, they are all very passionate. They've been there for a long time, a lot of experience, and they're members of the community as well. So they're here to help again close that gap. And we thank you for doing that. And we thank you and your team for being partners with us on not only the job fair, but on a lot of other initiatives and promoting you. Every time there's a new business that comes to town, Derek emails us right away. Hey, do you guys have a contact for this business?
Yeah.
I want to reach out to them. Or if they want a job fair, like
Yeah.
call Derek. He can help you with that. So it's a great partnership, and we're very
Absolutely.
grateful for that. So thank you. Any last thoughts?
Yeah, I would kind of reiterate what you're saying. If you're a
Mm-hmm.
business and you're looking for support, reach out to me directly. We can, same sort of thing. We won't say
Yeah.
we don't know how. Again, if it's not something that we do or we can help with, we'll try to find another avenue that can assist.
Yep.
We work very much on the community side, but we're also connected with Durham College on a larger scale,
Mm-hmm.
so we can connect you in with our career development department if what you're looking for is more around like a graduate or alumni of Durham College. Anything to do with on campus, it's quite a large directory of people. You can let me know and I can connect you directly to the right person
Perfect.
for that.
And you're never going to say, I don't know.
Of course not.
Never, right?
Never.
Exactly. We want to, again, thank you very much, Derek, for spending
Thank you for
time with
having
us
me.
today. Yes, of course. And we'll see you on the sidewalks when it gets less freezing out. When it's
Yes.
nicer outside, we'll see you and Sasha and your puppies walking. I want to thank our sponsor again, Niche Security, for supporting our episode today. And any security needs, please reach out to Will Rogers, and I'm sure Erica will put the contact information up. So thank you again, and thank you everybody for tuning in and listening and learning a little bit more about how we support workforce development in Clarington. Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of CBOT Unplugged, brought to you by the Clarington Board of Trade. Follow us on Instagram at ClaringtonBot, on Facebook at the Clarington Board of Trade, or visit our website, cbot.ca.